Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today in deck number 383, we're going to be talking about Mikaeus the Unhallowed. But before we do, I want to thank all y'all for watching, liking, subscribing, all that jazz. But let's talk about Mikaeus here. Obviously, we are in mono black for our 6 mana 5/5 zombie cleric. None of that really matters though. Intimidate. It's got the nice human clause there, but the reason why we're playing him, well, y'all know the reason why I built him is because he's legendary, but the reason why we're playing this guy is non-human creatures you control get 1/1 and have Undying. Now, Undying is a beautiful ability. If it had no +1/+1 counters on it, when it dies, you return it to the battlefield with a 1/1 counter. Now, there are some beautiful combos with this card. In white-black, you've got all those cards in white that say, you know, no counters. And then you've got, like, the green chick that says no counters. But anyway, first and foremost, okay, yeah, here, we'll just go ahead and throw it out there. Mike and Trike. Yeah, it's really good. It's kind of, you know, if you get it, you just kind of win. So I had to put it in there. It does. I mean, yeah, if it happens, it happens. But that's not the exciting part of the deck for me. That's not. The exciting part for me is the Cauldron of Souls. Because of the way +1 and -1 rules interact together, they are, your creatures will have Undying and Persist at the same time, which both do the same thing. They come back with one of their respective counters on it. Now, a +1 counter gets put on it, and a -1 counter gets put on it. And the rules interaction between those two is they're both removed. So if you've got your Cauldron of Souls and Mikaeus out there, your guys can't die. Well, they can die. That's very key. But they don't stay dead. They just keep popping back up. You know, they die, they go to the graveyard, they come back. Important. So we are playing with a ton of creatures. I think we've got 35 creatures in the deck, and most of which are things like that will sacrifice itself. Now, we do, beyond Cauldron of Souls, we do have to have a way to take those +1 counters off from Mikaeus, because he's going to put them back into play with a +1/+1 counter on. If we want to, like, say, repeatedly sacrifice that creature for some type of effect, then we're going to have to find a way to remove those +1 counters from him. And Power Conduit does it. I don't understand. I've been preaching Power Conduit. Y'all know this for a while, because this interacts magically with the sagas, but it also works really good here too. You remove the +1 from whatever you want to keep coming back, and then you just put the +1 counter on Mikaeus. So, yeah. Another alternate way is the Fevered Convulsions. Now, granted, it's kind of expensive at 4 mana to put a counter on it, but it's essentially 4 mana, remove a counter, to remove a +1 counter. Now, let's look at some of our creatures. We've got some just good old-fashioned enter the battlefield creatures. Now, yes, there's a... when it comes to black enter the battlefield creatures, yeah, there's a bunch. So, here's the ones I chose. Obviously, we have Gary. We're playing mono black, and this guy is, I mean, we're playing him for that ETB effect. And then we're going to sacrifice him to, you know, a million different things. And he's just going to keep popping back. And every time he pops back, Man, that's each opponent loses that life, so that's pretty good. Necrotol is just going to pop something super duper expensive. Necrotol, Dark Hatchling. I'll be honest with you, Dark Hatchling's in here as a placeholder for Shriekmaw, because Shriekmaw is amazing, because even if you play that evoke cost, it goes to the graveyard and it pops back up with the +1 counter, and you get the ETB again. Oh, it's so good. But I'm all out of Shriekmaw, so I'm holding the place with Dark Hatchling. I figure if I'm ever somewhere and I draw Dark Hatchling, that'll upset me enough to where I'll go get Shriekmaw. Let's see what else we've got here. Gravedigger is just a good utility card in this particular deck because, yeah, in Magical Christmas Land, none of our creatures are going to die and stay dead. But that's just not going to happen. We're going to have to get some of those guys back at some point. Gravedigger helps. Bone Shredder, pretty good. And you don't even need a sacrifice outlet because Bone Shredder is its own sacrifice outlet. It's just going to pop out every turn. You just got to get rid of that counter. Of course, we have Slum Reaper and Plague Crafter. Now, a few of these are just, I'm going to call generic creatures that are just pretty decent. You know, the Gifted Aetherborn, we still need stuff to sack. And these are, I mean, these are fairly decent creatures. Trying the Dreadshade because, I'm sorry, Dreadshade. It is mono black. The Vamp Hex Mage is in there, kind of. It also does the moving to remove counters thing, so that's neat. Nightmare and Twilight Profit. All right. I won't even try to sugarcoat this one. I read Twilight Profit wrong, and that's why it's in here, and it'll be another cut for one of another million cards that I could have played, but yeah, I'm not particularly sold on it. I thought you drew the card. You do not, in fact, draw the card. You just reveal it. Oh, you put it into your hand. Okay. Ooh, I scanned it for the word draw, and I was like, oh, man. But yeah, you put it into your hand. Okay. That's not bad. It gets around crazy stuff. So let's continue with our move any number of 1/1 counters from other permanents to this guy. Whoa, right? So once you've been doing some undying shenanigans, you just play your Marauder and he sucks all the +1 counters to it, so you can start doing your shenaniganery over again. Skull Collector that's one way to get rid of the counters. Is just bounce it back to your hand. You're going to get that sweet ETB effect because it's probably, I don't know, a kill spell. Let's see, Sifter of Skulls. This one, okay, so we have a lot of sacrifice things, and that I'm about to get to. We have to have something to sacrifice, and Sifter of Skulls kind of provides that. Another creature, non-token creature you control dies, you get a Scion. Now, some of the cards call for you to sacrifice, and we naturally want to sacrifice, real creatures and not tokens so we can get them back. But the fact of the matter is, it's not always going to work out that way. So Sifter of Skulls and to a lesser extent Breeding Pit are in there for that reason. Now, in no particular order, we're just going to roll through these. Torgar. We got Torgar. So you can sacrifice any number of creatures. That, yeah, everybody's like, I don't know. But when you just sack those creatures and they come back bigger, what's up? That's what I'm talking about. We've got, don't freak out, Del Rage. You can sack 3 black creatures instead of playing for the 6/6 Trampler's cost. So, and that's really good when your creatures are coming back bigger. Neitherborn Phalanx. Just a good basic enter the battlefield thing. Yeah, The Transmute we're probably not going to use. I mean, it's 6 CMC. We ain't got a whole lot of 6 CMC. I guess we could go get, Yawgmoth's Vile Offering as a super kill spell or whatever. But Demon of Catastrophes. 4 mana flying trample 6/6, and we get to sacrifice a creature. See, this is what I'm talking about. I hit on it probably more than I should. I don't think there's such a thing as a downside to a Magic card. Like here, they make the cost so much cheaper because you have to sacrifice a creature. Well, I don't have to sacrifice a creature. I get to sacrifice a creature. It's an upside for this deck. So I think every card is, we've just got to find, it doesn't, I mean, and yeah, there's some real stinkers out there, but I mean, my favorite card is Jump, for goodness sake. So it's not like, but anyway, what's the saying? I don't have to go to work. I get to go to work. If you love your job or whatever. Anyway, Whisper, Blood, whatever this guy is. So here again, those creatures are gonna, invariably be in the yard. You sack 2, get 1 back. Actually, you sack 2 and you get all 3 back. So that's pretty neat. Champion of Sage Trolls. Sacrifice X other creatures and return X creatures. This seems pretty good. Beyond the 5 mana activation. I mean, we're going to spend the 5, sacrifice probably 2, 3 dudes, and they're going to come back bigger, and then we're going to get the dead guys back, and to rinse and repeat. So, and then once the dead guys die, they'll automatically come. I love the cycle. Mages of the Abyss. I'm telling you, if I had an actual Abyss, this is the deck it would be in. Destroys a non-artifact creature. Now, this is made to, the failsafe for Magus of the Abyss is eventually it's going to suck itself into the Abyss. I understand that. But not in this deck, because everything's just going to keep popping back up. And even when, if he's the only one, you get an extra turn out of it because he'll pop back up too. It's beautiful, I tell you. Apocalypse Demon. There's a lot of demons in here. Huh. 6 mana, giant flying, equal number of cards in your graveyard. And you got to sack, or you get to sack a dude during your upkeep. There again. We love to sack it because it comes back bigger. Y'all knew Thief of the Blood was in here just because this thing is a monster. Oh my gosh. I never thought we'd all so be excited for a 6 mana 1/1 flyer, but it ain't a 6 mana 1/1 flyer. It's a 6 mana flyer that kills every planeswalker on the table, resets all your guys, gets rid of those pesky +1 counters, -1 counters. I mean, that's a thing too. Anything. It's. Hope the Hydra player's not playing. But anyway, Thief of Blood's amazing. Y'all know it. We all know it. Plague Lord. Now, I'll be honest with you. Plague Lord was back in the Urza block, and I never really cared for it even then. I think the only time I've ever cast this card is in limited events because it's just not. I mean, it doesn't excite me. 5 mana 4/4, you sack to give something -4. It does have the sack a creature clause. You can sack a creature to pass out a -1/-1 to a turn, and that's kind of cool. And that's part of the reason why I'm playing it. The other part is, you can sack it to get something -4 and do it again. I mean, he just comes back. Squelching Leases, I should have put that in there with the Nightmare because it's just a non-flying Nightmare. Let's look at some ramp a little bit. Tried to Hedron Crawler. I'm trying to focus on dude ramp as much as I can, but you know it's mono black, so it's kind of hard. We pretty much have the crawler, the leaden mirror. I'm counting Bantu's monument as removal, and hey, it's got that cool life slurpy thing. But dark ritual, bubbling muck, and in this deck we get to use culling of the week because yeah, 1 for 4. Sign me up. Now, what are the other basics? Card draw. We've got blood divination. Hey, sack a creature, draw 3. We got sign and blood. We have merciless resolve. Now this you get to sacrifice a creature or a land, so we're not quite as hosed as you know if somebody board wipes and we draw. You know you can still kind of get there. We got the corpse auger. Hey, this is kind of nice when you sack it. Now, granted, it's hard for me to be responsible with cards that like do damage to you, but yeah, that's the price you got to play for playing mono black. So, number of creature cards in target player's graveyard. I like that because we're going to be putting some creatures in their graveyards as well. Of course, I've got a Diabolic Tutor. Mausoleum Secrets kind of fits here nicely. I mean, you search your library for a black card, which is going to be a good chunk of the deck, unless we're getting one of the few artifacts or a land. For tutoring for a swamp, we're in bad shape anyway. I've done it. But I wonder... I don't think I've ever won a game where I've had to tutor for a land. But anyway, well, I mean, a basic land to cast your spells. Yeah, I've tutored for cradles and stuff. But anyway, less the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Here again, that's probably not going to be hard to do. I'm looking at this card for this deck almost like an instant demonic tutor. Because your table full of opponents is going to feel like they got you when they put your creatures in your graveyard and they stay there. Mausoleum Secrets, I'm telling you. Here again, it's a weird kind of corner case card, but in this deck, it shines. Smothering Abomination. Check out that last line. Whenever you sack a creature, draw a card, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you get to sack a creature. What? Whenever you sack a creature, draw a card? Oh, that's card draw right there. So, Midnight Reaper. Non-token creature control dies. Deals 1, and you draw a card. I'm fine with it. Argo's Bloodfast. There's a good chance that we're going to be... I mean, yeah, it's not a great EDH card. We know it. But there again, it's Greed. 2 mana, 2 life, draw card. Greed cost, what did Greed cost? Like 3 or 4? I think it cost 4? 3? Anyway, it's not like I've cast a whole bunch of Greeds in my life. But this one, you get to flip into that land that sack, gain life equal to its toughness. That's cool. Got to Wake the Dead. Only on combat during an opponent's turn. So, check this out. Yeah, you're reading it. It's awesome. So, surprise blockers, right? You're like, they're attacking me, and I'm going to Wake the Dead. Surprise blockers. Put them all out there. They blocked whatever. But we have to sacrifice them all at the end step. That's fine. They're just going to, if Mikaeus is out, they're just going to pop right back with +1/+1 counters. Ridiculous. This is probably, with Mikaeus, is probably one of the greatest reanimation loops I could think of. Now, let's look at some removal. We're going to, of course, Diabolic Edict and Murder. Pretty standard. Walk the Plank. Merfolk is not that big a deal. I mean, in my local meta anyway, it's not like everybody's jamming Merfolk decks, but I've got the full art shiny, so I might as well. We have an Innocent Blood, Extinguish All Hope, Deathbringer Regent. Now, it doesn't really do anything once it comes back because you are not casting it from your hand, but still a 5/6 flyer. Fraying Omnipotence. However, it doesn't matter. Anyway, everybody's going to lose half, discard half, and then sack half. Wow, okay. Golden Demise. Ascend is, yeah, it's a minor setback. I mean, you're going to get it. Only creatures your opponents control get the -2. Now, granted, -2 is not going to get a lot. It's going to make your token player not happy, generally. We are going to eliminate the competition. Sacrifice X creatures to destroy X creatures. So I spend 5 mana. I make my creatures bigger to destroy your creatures. Oh my gosh. Now, these last 3 cards are a little different. I mean, Sadistic Glee is dumb because we're going to put it on our commander. Man, if we have the Triskelion, it's going to be hard not to. No. We're putting it on Mikaeus, and we all know it. Any graveyard, it gets a counter. Any graveyard. Oh my gosh. Phyrexian Tribute is on the reserve list, and as I understand it, it's the only black card that says destroy target artifact. Like that. It is quite literally a huge color pie break. That's why they never reprinted it, and because they never reprinted it, and they drew the line for the reserve list, and that's how it got on there. And they're fine with this being on there. They don't ever want to print black cards. However, it does have, in most decks, what would be called a high cost. Not here, because we get to sacrifice 2 creatures to destroy target artifact that's probably going to win the game. Did I go through the non-basics? I don't have a whole lot of non-basics. We've got the Baron Moor, just a good old cycle land, and I think that may be it because we got a couple things that count swamp. So but our last card is of course Mortal Kombat. There's no reason to not run this card if we have it. I mean, there's a lot of creatures in the deck, and it rotates around sacking it, and there is a conceivable line of play where they just nuke Mikaeus so much you're never going to be able to afford to play him again, and then you have to reevaluate another strategy. And this is just another alt-win con. Now, granted, you play it and cross your fingers because you got to go through a whole table revolution. And that's why I don't feel really bad about this one, because if you play Mortal Kombat, if you've got the 20 creatures in your graveyard, hey, that's fine. They let an entire turn cycle go through if you get a Mortal Kombat win. And even if you don't have 20 creatures, it's going to be sitting out there for a while. Anyway, I got long-winded. This Joker's 23 minutes. I was excited, but that's what I have for Mikaeus Unhallowed. I'm super excited to get to play this one. It's kind of a different take on Mono Black with it is and it isn't at the same time. You know what I'm saying? It's Reanimator, but not traditional. Anyway, I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But I think right now, we're going to shuffle and cut